Welcome back to Planet Doug Behind the Scenes, and this is a screen recording I want to make of me reframing a 360 video. I just wanted to show people who might be interested what the process is like, and maybe if you're thinking about buying a 360 camera yourself, this might help you decide whether it's something you want to do. This particular collection of videos is from Penang. I went to the Yummy Cottage food court for dinner, and during the day I'd shot a video at this Yummy Cottage food court using a mirrorless camera, like a regular camera, and I decided to go back to the same place with a 360 camera, have dinner, shoot essentially the exact same video so I can compare what the experience was like. Shooting with a 360 and shooting with a regular camera, which do I like. So it's not a really big video or anything like that, but even this short video you can see how many clips I have, and these are all in 360. And before I can even start editing video, I have to take every one of these 360 video clips and turn them into regular video, and that's what I want to show you, what that process is like. And what I'm doing right now is brand new. What I mean is the video that I'm going to edit, I haven't seen myself. I've never looked at this video since I shot it. So I'm starting from zero. Exactly, your experience seeing this video is the same of mine, because I can't remember even what was in the video. So what you have to do, of course, is pick your video first, and I happen to know it's this one that's 4 minutes and 31 seconds long. So let me pause it just to get started. So this video that you're looking at is in 360. This is the original video. So you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm using my finger on the touch screen, and as you can see, I can move all the way around the 360 view. There's the tripod. So my 360 camera is sitting on top of that tripod on the table, but you can't see the stick or the camera, of course, because those are invisible, but the tripod itself is visible in the field, in the viewfinder. You can see it there, which is not a big problem because I would never be shooting straight down like this anyway. I would be aiming the camera at me, at my lunch, at anything that might be going on around me. So with the 360 view, you have every option imaginable. I could aim it at the ceiling. As you just saw, I can aim it at the table, I can aim it at me, I can angle it off in this direction. Plus, of course, I can zoom in and zoom out. So there's a group of people at a table there, I could zoom in on them and get that view if I wanted to. And I could pan to another place and zoom in on that table. But one thing to remember with 360 video, they might tell you that the camera shoots 5.7K video, for example, or they talk about how you can get 4K video, but when they say that, they're talking about the widest possible field of view. So if I pull all the way out to this extreme, right there, that extreme distorted look, that's 5.7K. But of course you never would post video like that. But the second you start zooming in, the resolution starts to drop. So this might be 5.7K, now we're at 4K, and if I finally get to here, where you can kind of see some of the detail more clearly, now you may be at 1080p, and then you might think, oh, I want to get closer to this table to see what they're eating, but now you might be at 960p, 480, all the way down to 360 and below, and you can see just how blurry it's becoming. It's very, very low resolution at this point. And that's important because when you're reframing, like here, I'm digging around inside my knapsack, and you might think, like right now, you're acting as your own director and your own cameraman. And you might be thinking, as the director of this video, oh, this is interesting. What is Doug getting out of his knapsack? So you want to zoom in on my hands. But look at that, by the time I've zoomed here, the resolution has completely fallen apart. And if somebody's looking at this on a 4K TV screen, they're just going to see a blurry mess. So you really have to be aware of how far you can zoom in without totally destroying the image. You kind of have to balance the resolution, keeping the resolution as high as you can with showing the detail that you want to show. So this is a multi-stage process. As I said, I haven't seen this video since I shot it. I've never seen it. So the first step is to watch the whole video from beginning to end and then zoom around during the video and try to make decisions about how you want to frame it and what you want to show during the video. So in this case, I just touch the screen and it starts playing. Now let me turn down the volume on my phone so that you're not going to hear any of the audio from the video itself, because the screen recording is going to pick up all that audio and I don't want it. So let's start that again. So here I am digging around. Maybe there's something interesting going on over here. So let's take a look around. Is anything interesting? Maybe I want to show that table. Oh, there's a woman walking by. You know, is that interesting? And you're just busy making mental notes of what's going on around. And here I started to talk. So let's listen a little bit.
I tried to join the rest of society by sitting at a table in the middle, but they had really powerful fans blasting right down at that table, and I thought the wind noise would interfere with my microphone.
So that's interesting. Right there, I was talking about how I changed tables, and here I am sitting at the outer edge of the food court. And the reason I did that was because when you sit at these inner tables, there's these powerful fans everywhere, blowing. Like up here, you've got these exhaust fans and other fans. And then I'm basically talking about how these tables are too noisy for the microphone. And now I make a mental note that I'm talking about how the other tables are noisy. So maybe at this point I want to spin the camera around and then zoom in on the fan to show what it is I'm talking about, and then zoom back to me again, or something like that. You just basically make mental notes about how you want this video to look. So let's start again.
So I'm way back here at the back in the corner again. But I like being on the edges. It gives me a chance to sort of look out over the area, watch all the other people, and then nobody behind me, which I kind of like. I tell you though,
so I'd probably like just keep going around in a circle for the whole time,
for me to get all the food I want on there.
Scanning my environment,
classic example
to see what it is I might want to talk about or might want to show in the video.
There it is.
So here I'm showing the food.
I think this is a much better selection of food than I
probably want
lunch.
To zoom in on the food there.
Let's try this
zoom back out a bit again.
Very nice.
So I'm talking about the food.
Custard, you know.
So I probably want the camera to stay here steady for a little while.
The only thing that can go wrong with a custard,
but we can look around for a second just
like
to see if anything's going on.
Just to be different. But it was just basic custard.
Nothing much, because there aren't very many people sitting near me. So this might not be a good example for this
just
demo.
Just a nice texture to mix it in with the rest of your
continue
food.
with it since I started it. Something interesting might happen.
Oh, and this dish, by the way, was 8 ringgit 40, I think, 8.40.
I keep waiting for something interesting to happen in my environment. Got all the spinning fans.
Wow. Eggplant.
Eggplant. I went back there all the time because I love their eggplant dish. So good.
That's good.
See?
I love eggplant.
I agree with me. The eggplant is good.
A unique flavor and texture you just don't get with anything else.
Yeah, I love eggplant. Still nothing much to focus on around me. It's just me eating.
And I had my chicken dish, the one that I chose this time.
Maybe you want to zoom in on the plate. Back out again.
I'm very happy with this. It's better than my lunch. More variety.
This is a 4-minute video, and I'm at about 3 minutes now, so there's not a lot going on. Oh, here comes a guy. Another guest walking by, another customer. so I can follow him if I want. You can see him looking at me, looking at the camera. And it's not terribly exciting, you know, but at least something happened. So I can follow them as they walk by me.
I see all these places on the side,
and then back to me.
I'm interested in the meals that they make. But that buffet for me, that's going to be hard to beat.
Now I'm talking about the other places where you can get food, like this place and this place, all these places along the side. So I'll make a mental note that when I get to this point in the video, maybe I want to pan over here and show what I'm talking about. And then back to me again.
The Canadian lumberjack that I am, a simple meal like that, like this is something that I could have every day for 5 years in a row, and I would never get tired of it.
I was wondering if someone would come to offer me a drink, but nobody has come yet. That would have been interesting. I think the video is about to end, so it's not going to happen. But yeah, you just keep looking around, looking around. Oh, there goes somebody walking by, but not coming to my table. Nothing much happening. There's the menu, drinks menu up on the wall. And that's going to bring us to the end of this video. And there I am turning off the camera. So everything I just did there had nothing to do with the final video. That was just a kind of video reconnaissance to try and make mental notes about how I want to reframe this video. So the first stage essentially is to watch the whole video from beginning to end and make mental notes about how you want to reframe it. And then you won't be able to see this. I've been lying down on my bed this entire time holding the phone, but now when I do the reframing, I have to stand up. So now I'm standing up in the middle of the room. I'm going to turn off the fan. You can hear the fan probably, because now the fan is going to be blowing directly on the phone. And yeah, I just don't want to bother you with the fan noise. I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit because in the reframing, of course, I want to be able to hear myself because I have to reframe it. So what you do, you see that little plus sign down on the timeline at the bottom? That's how you insert a keyframe. So if I click on that plus sign, now I've got a keyframe, and there's the second item from the left is called the Viewfinder. That is the reframing tool. So you click on Viewfinder, and now you can't see this, but as I spin around in a circle, I'm standing up and turning around in a circle. I can physically move the camera, point it down. I'm pointing my phone up at my ceiling, and that points the camera in the video up at the ceiling. Now I'm pointing my phone down at the ground, and that points the 360 camera down at the table, and I can point at me. And that red dot in the middle is what turns the reframing tool on and off. And you also use that red dot to move in and out, like to zoom in. Like if I zoom out, you can see that red dot moving to the right. And if I'm pinching to zoom right now because I'm not reframing yet. And if I go all the way in, then you can see that red dot moving back and forth. So you have to develop a physical skill of being able to hold down that red button for 4.5 minutes without letting go, while moving it in and out to zoom in and out, while aiming the phone around the room. So let's get started. Let's see if I can do this, if I can remember everything. So now we are actually reframing. Everything I do now will be in the final video, which I then edit to put up on YouTube. Let's zoom in on me a little bit, because I think I'm going to start talking. Oh, who's this guy? I don't remember him from before.
Well, I have my plate of food, and I'm actually back at the exact same table.
So that was a surprise. But I'm going to keep that. So now I'm going to go back to me.
I tried to join the rest of society by sitting at a table in the middle, but they had really powerful fans blasting right down at that table, and I thought the wind noise would interfere with my microphone.
So I talked about the fans, so I stopped reframing. Now I'm going to turn around, find the fans, zoom in a little bit, and now I can show the fans that I was talking about.
So I'm way back here at the back in the corner again. But I like being on the edges. It gives me a chance to sort of look out over the areas, watch all the other people. And then nobody behind me, which I kind of like. I tell you though, for a place like this, I need a bigger plate.
So I mentioned bigger plate. That feels like a cue to turn around, get back to me, and then jump in on the plate, because I'm talking about the plate now.
For me to get all the food I want on there, maybe classic example of my eyes being bigger than my stomach, I don't know. But yeah, there it is. I think this is a much better selection of food than I had for lunch. Let's try this custard first.
That worked out pretty well, I think.
Very nice. Custard, you know, it's a safe bet. The only thing that can go wrong with a custard is maybe they added some like bizarre spicing to it just to be different. But it was just basic custard. Can't go wrong with that.
A funny thing with this
just a nice
reframing
texture to mix it in with the rest of your food. Mushroom?
is that even though I may not use all of this video in the final video, I may only use little pieces of
this
it.
Dish, by the way, was
You have to reframe
ringgit
the entire
40,
thing.
I think 8.40.
So even if you
My
shoot
lunch
a
today was
10-minute
8,
video
I think.
and you only use 1 minute of it in your final YouTube video, you have to reframe the entire 10 minutes to get that
Eggplant.
1 minute. At least that's the way I work.
That's good. I love eggplant. It's quite a unique flavor and texture that you just don't get with anything else. And I had my chicken dish, the one that I chose this time.
And there, who knows, maybe I've been aiming at me long enough and I'll, pan away from me, show my setting a little bit. These are all like editing decisions, like you're the director of your own movie all of a sudden. So now maybe the director, says to the cameraman, okay, let's shoot over this direction for a little while.
I'm very happy with this. It's better than my lunch. More
And it doesn't
variety.
matter that I'm not filming myself as I'm speaking. And you can just pan all the way around if you want. Establish the setting. Oh, just in time. That was good timing. I forgot about these two. So we can follow them. Now I start speaking.
I see all.
So I paused it there to swing around again. I should have done it like a half a second earlier, but I think it'll be okay.
All these places on the side. I'm interested in the meals that they make. But that buffet for me, that's going to be hard to beat.
So these are the places
Canadian
on the
lumberjack
side
that I am. A
that I
simple meal
mentioned.
like that, like this is something that I could have every day for 5 years in a row.
Back to me, because I'm talking about that. I'm saying I could eat this every day for 5 years.
And I would never get tired of it.
And pull out to get me in the shot again. A happy Canadian at the yummy cottage food court. And all of this won't be in the final video, of course. I'll edit all this out. But because it's in the 360 video, I kind of have to work through it and reframe it anyway. because I'm reframing the whole video. Now I'm turning off the camera. So that's the end. I've reframed the whole thing. And if I'm happy with what I did, I think I made a few mistakes in there. It could be better. But to be honest, if you go back and redo it over and over till you get it perfect, you'll be here for the rest of your life. So to me, that's good enough for what I need. And there's a check mark in the bottom right, and you click on that to save all that reframing we did. Now it's saved, and then at the very top there's an export button. So you export, and this is something I just learned through experience. The thing is, when you use the Insta360 app on your phone, you have limited resolution for your output. If you did this on your computer, you would get higher resolution, but you don't have this fancy reframing tool. So you have to choose higher resolution or lower resolution, but you have this reframing capability. So I choose to do it this way. But right now you can see it's 1080p, 30 frames per second, but there's also a word there called custom. If I click on custom, I get more options, and the main option I get is bitrate. The default is 25, and I'm just going to push that all the way up to 125, megabytes per second or bytes per second or whatever it is. I think it's 125 something per second, the bitrate. And the higher the bitrate, the higher the quality, basically. So now I've chosen, and I'm exporting flat video, like regular video. You can see at the top it says flat or 360. I could export this as 360 video, but then of course you don't reframe 360 video. You only reframe flat video. So now I hit export, and it is busy exporting. And you can see how slow it's going. So this is a 4-minute video, and now I have to wait until it's finished exporting. So there's a certain amount of downtime as well, and I have to wait. And I can't exit off this screen, and I can't leave the app until it's done. And of course, the whole time that I've been doing this, I've been standing up in this hot room with no fan, which means I'm now sweating badly. So reframing video is fun. It's really interesting, but it takes a long time, and it's a real physical effort. Let me turn the fan back on before I start to wilt in here. So I'm not going to subject you to staring at this screen while it gets all the way to 100% exporting, because nothing interesting happens after that. Everything interesting has already happened. That is basically reframing 360 video, turning it into regular flat video. And if I didn't like what I did there, I could go all the way to the beginning and just redo the whole thing. I can reshoot it essentially as many times as I want. Plus, of course, I still have the original video. The original video has not been affected in any way. So I could still export it as a true 360 video if I wanted to. I could re-export it, like reframe it a different way. I could reframe it 100 different ways and export different versions of the same video for different purposes, and or pick the one that I like. It basically has infinite possibilities. When you shoot in 360 video, your final video has infinite variety in terms of what you can do. But there it is. That's reframing a 360 video on Planet Doug. I thought I'd add a quick addendum at the end of this. The file export has reached 60%, as you can see, but something that can maximize the efficiency of doing this is using 2 different devices at the same time. So for example, I'm editing this video on my Note 10 Plus, but I could be editing a second video on my other smartphone, and I'm editing a third video on my MacBook. So basically, you should have 2 devices operating at the same time. And while one phone is busy, exporting a video, you basically hop onto your MacBook or your laptop, whatever you have, and you start working on a video there. And then you jump from one project to the other one, back and forth from laptop to your phone, from your phone back to your laptop, depending on which one is busy, exporting a file or copying files or busy working. And that makes it a lot more efficient. And then you don't end up just sitting around waiting for the phone to finish exporting. You know, you're busy doing something else productive. So that's what I generally do. And I have my laptop here on my lap now as I'm waiting for this to finish. I thought I would add one more addendum just to make it clear how this works, because everything that I just did was only converting 360 video to regular video, which in terms of making a final YouTube video, it really means you haven't even started yet. All you're doing when you do this reframing is creating your base videos that lets you start making your YouTube video. In another video, I was comparing this with a sculptor using a raw material like wet clay to make a sculpture. It's just a raw source material to make the sculpture. And this 360 video is just a raw source material that you have to transform into video, and then you can start actually editing. So to this point, we've taken that 360 video and we have created flat video. And now the next stage would be to go into your video editing program. In my case, you're looking at it now. This is Kinemaster on my smartphone. And you click on that button at the top, New Project. And this project, I might call it Yummy Dinner. That's the name of the video that I'm working on. And Yummy Dinner version 1, 16:9 aspect ratio. So now we create our project, create, and now we import the 360 video into your regular video editing program. Now I have to stop for a second to switch my screen recorder to landscape. I'll be right back. I'm back, and if I set up my screen recorder correctly, you should be seeing my video editing program, Kinemaster, in landscape orientation. And these are all folders of video files from various projects on my phone, and there's one there called Yummy Dinner 360 Export. And that's where that video that we just created ended up. So I click on that, and right there at the top left, 4 minutes, 31 seconds, that's the video that we just reframed. I click on that to add it to my timeline. So here, finally, we can begin editing the video. So now, I mean, if I had shot this video with a GoPro, I would have started right here. I mean, you just take the original GoPro video, import it into your editing program, and you start editing. But with a 360 camera, before you can even get to this stage, you have to do the reframing and the exporting, and then you can finally do the editing. So I don't think I'll take you through the entire process that I'm going to go through of editing this. I just sort of wanted to demonstrate this because I reframed the entire video, but I'm not going to use the whole video in my final YouTube video. So for example, we're going to start playing this, and I'm going to turn down the volume so it should just focus on my voice as I'm speaking. We don't get ambient sound from the video itself. So all this, where I'm rummaging around in my knapsack, this is just me getting the camera set up. This has got nothing to do with my experience of dinner at Yummy Cottage. So I don't want this in the original video. This is me just getting settled in. And here I kind of screwed up in a way, but I kind of want to start the video right here, I think, because I followed this guy as he walked behind me, right? I just sort of did that on impulse as I was reframing. So maybe I'll start the video right here. So now I have to delete the stuff to the left. So now this is the starting point for the real video that you will eventually see on YouTube. And we follow this guy around. It's a little bit blurry there, right? Not great resolution.
I tried to join the rest of society by sitting at a table in the middle.
And this is me talking about the fans, and here we get a cut.
Blasting right down at that table, and I thought the wind noise would interfere with my microphone. So I'm way back here at the back.
So right there, right? You remember we paused the reframing because I'm talking about the fans, and then it jumps to the fan. Let's turn up the volume a little bit so we can hear that, just to make it clear what's going on.
Tried to join the rest of society by sitting at a table in the middle, but they had really powerful fans blasting right down at that table, and I thought the wind noise would interfere with my microphone. So I'm way back here at the back in the corner again. But I like being on the edges. It gives me a chance to sort of look out over the area, watch all the other people.
And I like that. You see how that worked out? In the video, I'm talking about how I can look out over all the other people, and the video itself is showing what I'm looking out over. And that's the advantage to 360 in a nutshell. Because if I were filming this with a GoPro, chances are the entire time you would only see me talking, because I can't be constantly, moving the GoPro and aiming at different things while I'm eating dinner. And then eventually I come back to me, right?
And then nobody behind me, which I kind of like. I tell you though, for a place like this, I need a bigger plate for me to get all the food.
Right there, right? I talked about I need a bigger plate, and as the director, I made the decision to cut to the plate. When I say that, is that a good decision or not? Who knows? But it is a decision I made.
For a place like this, I need a bigger plate for me to get all the food I want on there. Maybe classic example of my eyes being bigger than my stomach, I don't know. But yeah, there it is. I think this is a much better selection of food than I had.
Right there, you can see how far I zoomed in. I really wanted to show all the food on the plate, but if you look at my hands in particular, everything, the resolution is dropped so low. I mean, that's really terrible. It's way too zoomed in, but it's not much you can do about that.
Selection of food than I had for lunch. Let's try this custard first.
And I think here at this perspective, I think that might be true 1080p. So that's where you really want to stay with your 360 camera, with your reframing, just to get at least 1080p.
Very nice. Custard, it's a safe bet. The only thing that can go wrong with a custard is maybe they added some bizarre spicing to it just to be different, but it was just basic custard. Can't go wrong with that. It's just a nice texture to mix it in with the rest of your food. Mushroom. Oh, and this dish, by the way, was 8 ringgit 40, I think, 8.40.
And in this case, if I were, I will eventually be doing this. I'll just stick it in just for fun, just to be complete, because I talk about how much it cost, and then I will probably put that on the screen, and that's part of the editing process, So I enter some text. I always enter 5 there. So I said what, 8.40 ringgit. Is that the proper spelling? I always get it wrong. And then I generally put in the US dollar translation. How much is it worth in US dollars? And with this thing, I always fade it in at the beginning, fade it out at the end. And I generally outline the text to make it more visible, and then I give it a little bit of a background so that it stands out, and that's basically how it looks there. And then I would go to a currency exchange app and figure out how much this is in US dollars. Give me a second to do that. I just checked, and that's about $1.78 US, so I'll go back into my editing thing. And I'll insert $1.78 US. That's the equivalent. And there, that's done. Now we check it to make sure it shows up at the right time.
8 ringgit 40, I think, 8.40. My lunch today was 8, I think.
That's okay. I mean, it could show up just a little bit earlier, so you can click on it and drag it a little bit ahead.
8 ringgit 40, I think. 8.40. My lunch today was 8, I think.
So that worked out well. Just keep going.
Now, eggplant.
There's nothing here I need to delete. This is just me going over the whole meal.
That's good. I love eggplant.
And all the zooming in and zooming out that I did while reframing, it's probably a bad idea, but I just felt like it was so boring just looking at me the whole time without the camera moving. All I can think to do is, well, zoom in a little bit, now let's zoom out a little bit, and you really don't want to do that a whole lot, but that's what I did.
That's quite a unique flavor and texture that you just don't get with anything else. And I had my chicken dish, the one that I chose this time.
Yeah, I'll probably get rid of that little chunk of dead air. Where did it start?
I love eggplant. That's quite a unique flavor and texture that you just don't get with anything else.
Then I pull up to here. And right there, I want to jump to the next dish. So I'll split the video here, move ahead.
And I had
right there. You know, just to get rid of that little bit of dead space. See if that jump is okay.
And I had my
It's
chicken
not
dish,
great,
the one
but
that I chose.
it's a YouTube video, right? What are you going to do? This isn't cinema. And to be honest, this is
I'm
all...
very happy with this. It's better than my lunch. More variety.
I don't even know if I want that chicken in there at all.
And I had my chicken dish, the one that I chose this time.
Feels kind of awkward to me for some reason. Just for fun, I'm going to take that out. So now it jumps from eggplant directly to the wide shot.
Else?
Yeah, I like that better. I don't need to talk about the chicken.
I'm very happy with this. It's better than my lunch. More variety.
And just panning around because there's nothing else going on in this scene. Not much else I can do. Oh, there they are. I was so happy when they showed up. I get to follow them. And again, you could never do this with a GoPro. Not that it's so amazing, but you know, it's a little bit different.
I see all these places on the side, and I'm interested in the meals that they make. But that buffet for me, that's going to be hard to beat. The Canadian lumberjack that I am. A simple meal like that, like this is something that I could have every day.
I don't really know what I'm doing with the camera here, but
I would never get tired of it.
Again, it's not cinema, so you have to forgive yourself for some weird camera movements. It's not like I went to film school. So here, if I remember right, I start just eating and eating and eating. Nothing going on. So I'm probably, yeah, I'll remove all of this. So let's go back to where I might want to cut.
Every day for 5 years in a row, and I would never get tired of it.
Never get tired of it. I think it's the last thing I said. Pull back until you see all of me. Hold it for 1 second. Done. Cut it here. And now we go ahead until something else happens. I'll delete all of this. No one needs to watch me eat for 20 minutes straight. Look at me looking around the place, thinking about the camera, thinking about what else I can take video of. The YouTuber brain never stops working. Oh, and that's actually the end of the video. So nothing else happens after that point. So that whole section is gone. So there's the final result of reframing that video. How long is it? So 3.5 minutes. So we took like a 4.5 minute video, reframed it, cut out 1 minute, and now it's 3.5 minutes long.
Well,
And that is just one video clip. So that's the whole process to go from 360 to final video, but that's just one video clip. So now for me to work on this video today, this is actually the video I'm working on today. So this is all happening in real time. Everything I've done here, I'm going to use in the final video. So now I have to go back into Insta360, and to do that I have to switch my screen recorder back to portrait. So next time you see this, it'll be back in portrait. All right, now we're back in portrait and we're back in Insta360, and this is the video that we just finished reframing and then editing. And now what you do is back out of this one. So here's the final video again, the original. And that one there, 4 minutes 31 seconds, is the one that we just did. And now you just go to the next one, 3 minutes 21 seconds. Click on that. Change it to 16:9, and now the whole process starts all over again, where I play the video, and as I watch the video, I just decide how I want to reframe it. So I'm basically starting all over again.
a young fellow just came up to the table to take my drinks order.
Huh, I missed that. Isn't that awful? I turned the camera off, and right when I turned it off, the guy came to take my drinks order. So I didn't get that on video at all. But I'm not going to go through this whole video, but basically I would watch this video now.
And I almost shook my head, no thank you, just to see what would happen.
And I'll do the same thing, you know, I
Maybe
might
the
follow
drinks
him
mafia
just to
would
see
kick
if he
me
does
out if
anything
I
interesting.
didn't order a drink, I still don't know.
And I just basically watch the whole video
And I ordered
just try to
another
decide
iced
in
tea.
advance how I want to frame it.
I didn't know which tea to...
Yeah, I got all these interesting
Yeah,
people
yeah.
coming in. Yeah, I could
to
follow
call
them
on
as
some
they go
local
by if I
expertise.
wanted to. It looks like an interesting
Get some
family.
insight into what all the different teas are like. Then another woman came right afterwards.
Or I could just stay on me the whole
Take
time
a
because
drink
I'm
order.
telling a story.
But I had already submitted my order.
And you basically decide where you want the camera to be aiming at one point. Looks like this whole family came out with their grandfather for a breakfast. I was waiting for the drinks person to come back with my drink. Yeah, I've got the money ready to pay the person when they come with my drink. Wonder if they'll come soon. So yeah, I watched the video thinking like a director, like a cameraman. Oh, here she comes. So I have to remember when she shows up so I can spin the camera to follow her. Oh, it's not even my drink. But I can follow her anyway. You know, she's bringing drinks to another table. Guess my drink isn't ready yet. Oh, maybe this is my guy. Okay, no? Because that's where the drinks come from, over there. I make a mental note about that. And right now, in real time, I'm just letting the camera run because I know my drink is going to come soon. Here it comes. And I want this on video. So here he is.
Okay.
I pay him.
Thank you.
There you go. So I remember, you know, roughly when that took place.
This one was 150, I guess.
And I'll stop it there. Like that's the basic idea. I would go through this whole video, figure out how to reframe it, then I would reframe it, then I would export it, then I import it into Kinemaster, and then I edit it, and then I take all those clips, put them together, re-edit it with all the final touches that you add to a YouTube video, export that as the final YouTube video. So there you go. A glimpse, a true glimpse behind the scenes on Planet Doug.